Hi, everybody. Hi, Alex.
Hey Benji, how you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good.
Welcome to Inside LP, where we talk about what's going on at Laughing Place, where we're constantly moving and shaking. So I'll always be looking at my phone, trying to see what the latest news is, and my three different screens I have here, trying to help this website get through the day. Um, and Alex is my co-host today, and we'll bring in other members of the team as it warrants. But I'm going to be a little subdued as we start because, unfortunately, our first story, we do want to take a moment to remember Angela Lansbury, who passed away yesterday morning um, at the age of 96. Alex, you're our film guy. Can you talk a little? And you did our piece, our movie, really, really well done piece on her. Can you share a little bit about your thoughts?
I mean, it's sad. She did live a long life. She was 5 days shy of her 97th birthday. Um, and I think from grandparents that I've had, I don't know anybody else who's lived that long in my real life. So I think kind of like Betty White, it was a long life, a life well lived. And obviously, she was able to accomplish a lot. I mean, her story is really interesting in that she was born in London and fled during World War II. That's how she even came to be in the United States, where she was quickly signed up as a contract player at MGM. She was nominated for a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for her very first film role. So, like, right out of the gate, she was showing everybody exactly who she was, exactly what she could do. Um, that being said, it's a little surprising that her star never really rose as high as we probably think it did. She was a Disney legend, but it really wasn't until the '80s with Murder She Wrote that she actually became a household name. She had obviously done a lot in film. She was huge in the theater space. Five-time Tony winner. She originated the roles of Mame and Gypsy and the I forget her name, but in Sweeney Todd, the Stephen Sondheim musical, she originated those roles. She's on the original cast recordings of those. One of my favorite holiday songs, "We Need a Little Christmas." She's the first recorded singer of that song from the musical Mame, and so I mean, there's so many standouts. One of the stories that I always find so interesting about her is that she came fairly close to being Mary Poppins in the Disney film. She was on the short list of names that they had narrowed it down to, and obviously Walt went with Julie Andrews, but she was not a name that they forgot, and so when they tried to recapture the success of Mary Poppins with Bedknobs and Broomsticks, which the Sherman brothers had actually started adapting while they were on hold with P.L. Travers, thinking Mary Poppins might fall through and they might not be able to make that film. Um, they were working on Bedknobs and Broomsticks as a potential other starring vehicle for Julie Andrews. One of the standout numbers from Bedknobs and Broomsticks, "Beautiful Briny Sea," was written for Mary Poppins, literally a leftover that they carried over for another animated sequence. And so, the fact that they hadn't forgotten about her, even though that film was made almost a decade after Mary Poppins, was I think tantamount to how big of an impression she made. Uh, and then, of course, I mean, Mrs. Potts, one of the biggest animated roles you can think of from the Disney Renaissance. She sings the title song in Beauty and the Beast, and she famously did that in just one take, even though she was telling Alan Menken and the people at the recording studio, she was like, "I'm a little rusty. I haven't done this in a while. I'm not sure if I'm going to be any good." And then she killed it in one take. Paige O'Hara has that amazing story as well of being so overwhelmed with fear at the performance they were about to do at the Oscars for Beauty and the Beast. They were about to go out and live perform a medley of songs because the film was nominated for not only Best Song and Best Score, but Best Picture. And Angela Lansbury is the one who kind of calmed her down and was like, "You'll be fine. You've done this on the stage. It's just you and an audience," and helped calm her down there. So, I mean, everybody who I know who's talked about her speaks very highly of her as a person, in addition to her work on the screen. And then one of my favorite roles of hers came. It was her second to last film role in Mary Poppins Returns. She finally got to be in a Mary Poppins film as the balloon lady, poignantly at the end, really singing about life's full circle moments. And I just love that. So that's why I chose this image. It was a publicity poster image that they did for her as the balloon lady from Mary Poppins Returns. But it's recent, it's Disney, and I just love her in this role.
You know, it's interesting how you know, growing up in the 80s, when Murder, She Wrote was just such a big deal. You know, it was just sort of, it was back when, you know, network television could just be a show. You know, like, I mean, when you, it's a joke now because Cabot Cove's murder rate was like ridiculous. You know, everyone, you didn't want to know Jessica Fletcher because she,
anyone she wrote about died.
Right. But they, but it was, and then so when she became, so like when you would see her in Beauty and the Beast, you're like, wow, this is a big star. You know, I mean, and then to go back and then watch Bedknobs and Broomsticks, where, you know, in a weird way that paralleled her own life, where, you know, the Blitz is sort of the inciting incident of that film. It's, you know, I've talked many times about how these big stars seem big because they just do big Disney projects as a kid, and you don't realize that Dom DeLuise is not the biggest movie star of all time, even though he's everywhere. But
his voice is, at least.
Right, and but you know, to me, what really cemented her status to me were those stories about filming Beauty and the Beast, or, you know, or playing the part in Beauty and the Beast, because Don Hahn, Paige O'Hara, Howard Ashman, they always just speak about a legend who, you know, showed up, was humble, self-deprecating, but didn't let that stop her from, I mean, that iconic song. I mean, to me, that's one song, Disney song, that's almost impossible to cover. I mean, we hear it so many times from different people because it's, you know, it's a classic Disney song, but it's her performance in that is the best version and will always be the best version, because Mrs. Potts' performance, where she puts in sort of a history knowledge into it that you just don't get when, you know, someone just sings it out like it's a princess song, because it's not, you know, it's one of the few songs that the heroine is not singing it. It's, you know, it's not like Part of Your World or, you know, Let It Go or any, you know, it's not the star. It's someone who is the mentor in this relationship, and is, to me, has just been.
That's very much how I've always seen Angela Lansbury, is almost as this like all-knowing sage. And that's a lot of the roles she plays. I mean, in Bedknobs and Broomsticks, she's an apprentice witch, but she also is always one step ahead of everybody else, even Dr. Cornelius Brown. You know, she's missing part of the spell book, but she figures it all out on her own. And from the kid's point of view, she has this, you know, tremendous power, even though she's struggling with it. And I think that is so poignant to her, because yes, she was nervous about recording Beauty and the Beast, was worried she was going to flub the take, and then did it all in one take. Hi, Caleb. And yeah, and that's very much the character she plays in Mary Poppins Returns as well. Is, you know, I'm just this little lady in this park surrounded by cherry blossoms selling balloons, but if you pick the wrong balloon, you know, and she's got this whole metaphor for life, and it's just so brilliant.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, this is not a you know, tragic passing, but it's still sad. You know, our friends of Laughing Places, the Maltons, you know, Leonard and Jesse. You know, I was talking to them for a few moments yesterday, and just breaks our heart, because she was so kind to the family, and you know, I think we forget how big of a deal she was on a top 5 show on CBS in the 80s. I mean, when we go through the Jaws ride, I mean, always through my
Universal Hollywood,
I always think of Cabot Cove, because, you know, and expected Angela Lansbury to have to beat down Jaws. So,
and fittingly, because you can visit Cabot Cove at Universal Hollywood, you can stream Murder, She Wrote on Peacock. It's one of the few things that I routinely stream on there, because I was really young when that show had its run, and so I didn't really get to appreciate it in the moment, with a lot of people. And speaking of the Maltons, if you go to their podcast Malton on Movies, they do have an episode where they interviewed Angela Lansbury. It's from I want to say 2019 or so, and it's a great interview. So if you're looking for some way to kind of honor Angela Lansbury, there's not much of a better way than checking out that podcast episode.
Any last thoughts?
I mean, I think it's fitting. You know, she did a lot of theater work with B. Arthur from the Golden Girls. We recently lost Betty White. You know, and what kind of brings me a little bit of joy is just knowing, even though she's gone and that's sad, that she's up there with all these legends that she got to work with. I mean, she acted alongside Judy Garland and the Harvey Girls. You know, there are so many entertainment giants that were part of her world. You know, and I get a little bit of peace in just thinking about like the show they're probably assembling right now up in heaven, and you know, it's going to be beautiful.
Okay, well, you know, obviously our thoughts were with her, but the news
and her family,
doesn't.
and she had 3 kids, she had 3 grandkids, and she had 5, I think, great grandkids, and was also survived by her brother. So, I mean, you know, definitely our thoughts and prayers are with her family at this time.
So, in heading to Disneyland now, we got word that MagicBand Plus is going to be coming to Disneyland. We knew it was coming in the fall, but now we have a date, October 26th, which really means actually October 19th, because if you're a cast member, vacation club member, or Magic Key holder, you can access the band a week early on October 19th. It will be available, you know, at various stores. There's going to be 18 designs at first, with 5 specific Disneyland exclusive versions, and there's going to be a Magic Key band that you can also get for a $10 discount at which I think I don't. Let me see if I can get a picture of that one. So in addition to your regular merchandise discount, you will also be able to get this Magic Key band that's exclusive, that features sort of the Magic Key logo and the happiest place on earth as well. And
so only Magic Key holders can buy it, and Magic Key holders get a discount on it.
Yeah, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Price for Magic Key holders for this band.
You're not the first person to bring that up. I should note that the Magic Key version, Magic Key holder version, is only going to be available at Starcade, the Superstore featuring Avengers Campus, you know, the old Millionaire building, and what they lovingly call the building next to Star Wars Galactic Outpost. You may know it as the ESPN Zone. So it'll be available there. So that's on the 19th if you want that version. We did. I
still call Star Wars Galactic Outpost Rainforest Cafe.
Fair enough. They did reveal that in addition to the World of Color and Fantasmic that we knew it was going to interact with, they did say it's going to also interact with the holiday shows. Yesterday they announced that actually, you know, the World of Color holiday version, as well as Believe on Holiday Magic. And then it will also interact with World of Color 1, the 100th anniversary version, as well as Wondrous Journeys, the fireworks show, which I think is kind of expected because it would be weird to launch it and then not have it supported, as well as special moments, including when Spider-Man leaps across Avengers Campus. So we both had MagicBand Pluses at Disneyland. I'm sorry, Walt Disney World. So do you still does wearing yours? Does having yours make you kind of bring back MagicBand? MagicBand's been around for a while. Do you now use it more often?
I never stopped. I know you did. I have continued to wear my Magic Bands. I like to theme them to the park I'm going to. I like to match them with my outfit. So for me, Magic Band 2.0 was kind of a must-have accessory for a Disney World park stay, even if I wasn't staying at a resort. Now, I mean, yes, you can get your ticket on your Apple Watch now or use Magic Mobile. But I like the convenience of having the Magic Band, and I like being able to kind of celebrate my fandom with it. Magic Band Plus, I will say personally, I don't see a value in it that matches the cost, because these are like your typical Magic Bands around $20 to $30 price point, depending on how stylish they are. What's the price point on these? It's over $50, right?
I believe so. They start at $34.
For a
I
Magic
don't
Band
know.
Plus?
What's that?
For a Magic Band Plus starts at 34?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. The prices I was seeing were like $50. Here's what I don't like about Magic Band Plus. I don't like that you have to charge it, and if you forget to charge it, it's not going to do the plus stuff. Like it needs to be charged and paired via Bluetooth with the Play Disney Parks app. So to me, there's a lot to set up to get your Magic Band Plus working on a given day. But what I do enjoy more about it are those little random moments that you didn't necessarily plan. One of my favorites in execution at Disney World is when you get off of Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. It kind of starts this little after party as you're going up the stairs to exit the unload. So it kind of does, like, at least on mine, it does like a disco light spinning around inside the little Magic Man face. And so those are the moments that to me are very fun. The walking by the statues thing, was neat to collect the little digital trophies. But after that, now it's like you're walking around and all of a sudden your wrist is vibrating as you're walking past, the statues in the hub at Magic Kingdom, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, I forgot that I had this on. The other thing I will say is sometimes it becomes too much of a distraction. So the only nighttime entertainment I've experienced with my Magic Band Plus was Harmonious at Epcot, but I found myself looking down at my Apple Watch too much. Not my Apple Watch, my Magic Band Plus. Now it was cool that it would switch to the colors, and it can, it's got LED lights, so it can do a wide range of color and kind of match and sync up with the show. But kind of like with the show, if you had your mouse ears on, A, everybody else was getting the show instead of you, and B, it's kind of a distraction from the main show and how hard people work on that. So I have a little bit of a mixed feelings about Magic Band Plus. I am curious to see how Disneyland adapts to it, since they haven't needed this before. It's not like the third variation on their Magic Band out here. And so I'm really curious to see how it goes over with the Disneyland crowd. Because with anything at Disneyland, you kind of need your local most rabid fans to really latch onto it and to want to have multiple of them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. The one thing it doesn't have that's kind of like, it doesn't have that. It's going to have the Batu Bounty Hunter game, but it doesn't have the statues, obviously, that kind of were like the other big sort of launch title. Now, I think they're somewhat aware of it because they keep talking about how they're going to keep adding things to the Magic Band Plus. But, it seems like it's not, it's obviously doesn't have everything, including you can't do room charge or open your resort room with it. So it's not quite at the level of Walt Disney World yet. So, but they will be interchangeable. So if you have Disney, if you're going to go to both, you can play. There's no reason not to have them at both. But now, and I will point out that Magic Band Plus is the only one that will work at Disneyland. Magic Band 2 or the sort of classic version will not be available, or I should say, won't work. I don't know how they make that.
No backwards compatibility.
Yeah. So make sure if you want to go to Disneyland that you actually get, because interestingly, they just released a whole new bunch of Magic Band 2s, including like some neat Magic Kingdom ones, but those won't work at Disneyland. I mean, not that Magic Band of Walt Disney World should work at Disneyland, but whatever.
Yep. Did you find out the price, by the way?
Oh, I can.
I We were looking that up. If not, I will do it. I'm already on Shop Disney.
Let's see here.
Yeah, $44.99, $54.99. I'm not seeing.
Yeah, they have
any
different
under
prices.
$45.
I wonder if that's what the $10 discount will make it start at 34.
Oh, okay.
If that's what they meant.
Maybe. Okay, yes. The very, very plainest ones are $34.99. I see those now.
Okay.
So just a solid color you can do for $34.99.
So we're going to bring in Mac now to discuss some Marvel news. Hi, Mac.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So we had some release date changes.
Yeah, so
right?
I think it was last week we learned of the departure of Bassam Tariq from Marvel's Blade movie, the director. So they're currently searching for a new director for that movie, and kind of as expected, that resulted in a delay for it, which then results in delays for other movies as things just kind of get pushed down the line.
So to sum up, Blade's now going from November 3rd to September 6th, November 3rd, 2023 to September 6th, 2024, which then means Deadpool now goes from September 6th, 2024 to November 8th, 2024. So just a couple months. Fantastic Four moves from November 8th, 2024 to February 14th, 2025. Which seems like a fitting day to have a Fantastic Four movie, but
yeah, nice Valentine's Day date.
Yeah. And then Secret Wars goes from November 7th, 2025 to May 1st, 2026, which is going to be the painful one.
Yeah, I thought that was what's interesting here is that the Kang Dynasty didn't move. So that stays, despite movies moving around it, that stays put. And it actually ends up with now, as opposed to, we were going to have 6 months in between the two Avengers movies. Now it's going to be exactly 1 day short of a year, which is what the difference was between Infinity War and Endgame, the same exact number of days between those two movies.
And what's interesting about it is one thing, now with so much stuff on Disney Plus and all that, like it seems odd. Well, it seems more difficult to hold it than it used to. Just because there is
a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. And then also, we also got some news of that there's going to be a new Agatha Christie adaptation that follows
Hercule Poirot,
Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile. And Alex, you're a fan of those movies. Are you excited for the new one?
Fan. Very big fan. Yes, I'm super excited, especially because one of my favorite comedians is in it, Tina Fey, with the casting news that they just did.
It's interesting to me though, like the first two movies I would say had all-star casts, and this one they said all-star cast, but
here's the other thing is they haven't talked about release for this next one, and I was looking through it when I was writing this story the other day, because I could have sworn at some point in time they had announced that they were continuing the franchise, but that it wasn't going to be theatrical, that this was going to go to Hulu. But the Hollywood Reporter's coverage mentioned expected to be in theaters fall 2023, and to me this casting news seemed more in line with a streaming movie, less in line with a theatrical release. And I think that's the big difference. These other ones with big all-star casts were planned for theaters. Death on the Nile had the double misfortune of hitting theaters after a lengthy delay due to COVID shutdown and coming to theaters before movies had really gotten back on their feet. And then also having the Armie Hammer of it all attached to it. So they really couldn't do much publicity because you really couldn't talk about it much because spoiler alert, if anyone hasn't seen Death on the Nile, plug your ears. Armie Hammer's the murderer. So
read a book.
Yeah, and then that's what's also exciting to me about this one is I think everybody at least knows the names of Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile. Those are two of Agatha Christie's biggest titles. This one, A Haunting in Venice, I think is what they've renamed it. But it's based on a lesser known Agatha Christie Hercule Poirot book called, I think, The Halloween Party or something like that. And I think this one lends itself really well to a fall streaming release. The plot is Hercule Poirot is a retired detective visiting Venice, gets invited to a seance at a notoriously haunted mansion, and then there is a murder. And only he can solve the case.
So bringing it back to Marvel, so we got Blade, Fantastic Four, I'll take the 2 Avengers movies out of it because it's not really fair, and Deadpool 3. Mac, which one are you most anticipated?
That is tough because if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said Fantastic Four pretty easily. But with the news of Deadpool and the potential multiversal, ramifications of involving Hugh Jackman and all that, I might lean towards that. I'll say Deadpool 3, but Fantastic Four right up there.
Okay, well, and then you'll be back tomorrow to talk She-Hulk and comics. You got a Venom review coming up later today. Have you read it yet?
Yeah, it actually just went up on Laughing Place right now.
Oh, how was the book? Yeah. Thought too much.
It was good. Oh. It's a slow start to what should be a really interesting series or a story arc.
Great.
Have you seen the She-Hulk finale yet? Do you have early access? Okay.
No early access on this one. I'm looking forward to it tomorrow morning.
Well, thanks, Mac.
Yeah, thank you.
And I just want to say, Stephen, hi. Glad you're watching from Wyoming. I'm going to give a list, and if anyone lives near any of these cities and is watching, put a message on the comments. Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Little Rock, Arkansas, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Macon, Georgia, Sarasota, Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, Huntsville, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, Miami, Florida, Melbourne, Florida, Evans, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, Richmond, Virginia, Wallingford, Connecticut, Reading, Pennsylvania, Brookville, New York, Baltimore, Maryland, Red Bank, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Athens, Ohio, Branson, Missouri, Sioux City, Iowa, Kansas City, Missouri, Columbus, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, St. Louis, Missouri. If anyone lives near any of those cities, let me know. Also,
our apologies to the community of Macon, Georgia, for the mispronunciation of your town's name, and there was one other that you butchered, and I can't remember which one that was. But apologies to them too.
Yeah, well, I didn't graduate their grade. All in the Game asks Tony, Mac, with Michael Waldron writing Secret Wars, who do you all have directing it? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't have an answer, but it's a good question.
I really don't know. I'd be curious to see if Destin Daniel Cretton get the chance since he'll be doing Kang Dynasty. I would have to put some thought into who I would want to see direct it because, obviously directing an Avengers movie it's a huge undertaking. So I'm really not sure though. That's something I'm going to have to think about a little bit. Also, does it count if I went to high school in Red Bank, New Jersey? Should I alert you about that? Is that important?
No, you gotta be there.
Okay.
I also grew up near Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and can go back. I have family there. Who's touring? What is this for?
I'm just. It's. I don't want to reveal it because
on the road.
I don't want people to start lying just so that they can participate in this fun thing that we have an opportunity to send some of our audience members to. I don't know, but All in the Game, do you have an answer? Who do you have directing it?
Well, Ben, do you have somebody in mind that you would like to see?
No, I don't. It's there's so many more people now, with Disney Plus that could direct it. That I just don't have an answer.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said, I'll put some thought into that one and maybe come up with maybe like a list of directors that could handle Secret Wars. Might be an interesting post on Laughing Place.
Yeah, that's a good. Thank you for the suggestion. All in the Game. But now we're gonna say goodbye to Mac. Bye, Mac. And say hello to Tony. Hi, Tony.
Hi. I almost changed my shirt so me and Mac match.
Do you have that same exact shirt?
I do.
Is that shirt turned backwards?
No, this is my Pixar Animation Studios Soul shirt.
From the Half Note.
Yep.
I was gonna say they're both a heather gray.
So last winter we had the wonderful winter of Mickey Mouse. This spring we had the wonderful spring of Mickey Mouse. Then this summer we had the wonderful summer. And we just got the trailer.
All comes to an end.
The wonderful autumn.
Or is it going to be another set?
Alex, what do you know?
It's going to be the end. They're ending this series. Like Paul Reddish is moving on away from Disney, and my understanding was that these 4 specials constitute season 2, which was going to be the end. So I am under the impression that this is the last we're getting from this wonderful world of Mickey Mouse.
Unless you count Runaway Railway.
Which I don't, because we already have version 1.0, and I don't know if they're doing any new animation for 2.0.
I think it's going to be enhanced animation on what we've already seen.
They special editioned the attraction. So Tony, what do you think of the autumn?
I'm excited. I like the idea that Mickey has a legacy that's awful, with the worst Culpepper Mouse, who was awarded the worst farmer ever award, and he has to restore that, and they try going on to make the world's largest pumpkin by injecting it with whey protein based on the trailer. But I'm excited. It's got the humor and everything from the new series, which is fantastic. I am disappointed by the lack of Potato Land from the trailer, but
Potato Land's a legacy.
They can't all be Potato Land. Nature's Wonderland comes close, though.
Nature. I would actually rank Nature's Wonderland above Potato Land. the whole Walt map winking, and someone put this big thundering mountain over it. And
then at the end, when they finally make it to the Rainbow Caverns, and they have the music. Yeah.
And I got to interview the woman who does the aria in that.
Really?
Yeah. If you check out our interview with oh my gosh, what are their names? Drawing a huge blank because I interviewed a different
Chris Willis is the one.
Chris, yes, and his wife is a vocalist and co-writes songs with him, and so she does the singing on that. They talked about going into the Disney Music archives and there not being much from Rainbow Caverns saved, and so they kind of had to recreate it by ear. They didn't have the sheet music for it anymore.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a good story. But you can read that interview.
I'm glad they put that detail to it. I should read that interview.
I honestly thought it was lifted from the soundtracks of yore. But...
Yeah, no, I guess they because it would have been too hard to splice in with the new orchestration, so it was just easier to like try and make something that sounded like it and plunk it in there. But they did it all by ear, which was cool. Sorry to interrupt.
Well, Tony, you
go ahead.
No, Tony, you're also known as a nighttime
spectacular.
You love your nighttime spectaculars, right, Tony?
In most cases, yes. World of Color being the best, in my opinion.
World of Color 1, you mean?
Yes, but some of the other ones are good too. Some.
But now let's go backwards and do a 0.
Phantasmic coming in. Coming to Hollywood Studios again. I almost called it the old name. Wow, I haven't done that in a while. Coming to Disney's Hollywood Studios back again in November. A few weeks ago, we got teased saying that rehearsals had started again, but we didn't have a date, and everybody kind of thought it was going to come out at D23, and it did not. And then finally today, we got a little bit of news from Disney Parks just saying Phantasmic returns in November. I'm inclined to believe it would be November 18th or around November 18th because, Mickey.
Just a random day.
Just a random day, right? But there is no specific date at this time.
I would be inclined to think that they're going to do it on November 30th after the Thanksgiving rush.
It's funny how they bothered to tell us it's coming in November, but not when. It almost seems like they're giving us more information, but they're not giving us any useful information.
Yeah, they're locking them in that by November 30th, this thing is gonna be available for guests to see, but also giving themselves all the wiggle room they need to refine it. Since
because there are the new
modifications.
sequences. Yeah, it's not quite the Fantasmic everybody knows and loves.
It's not
As long as it
Disneyland?
has, as long as Mickey's wild imagination still includes the British invading the shores of Virginia, I'll be fine. In his wildest imagination,
yeah,
about the Virginia company upsetting the apple cart.
I suspect that company might be out of business.
Are we getting the East Indian Trading Company then?
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
I was thinking about Fantasmic as being like the last big thing to come back at Disney World. But then I realized the Little Mermaid show's still gone, right?
Yeah, and Monsieur Paul reopens again October 18th. So
the last.
Whoa, there we go. It's almost like you planned it.
But I will say, I just want to say the last big thing to come back to Disney World will be the Hand Witch.
The Hand Witch?
I'll keep with that theme.
To me,
Horizons.
I saw a tweet yesterday that was those computer generated imagery where you put in some words and it spits out images. And it was Epcot as a water park, and it had Horizons with 2 slides coming out the bottom of it.
That'd be funny.
It was really cool.
Do you get to choose the ending of the slide?
Yes, actually, while you're on the slide, it presents you with buttons to press.
But Monsieur Paul's reopening October 18th with a new prefix menu. Details will be coming soon, presumably very soon, considering it's October 12th.
Now, with all the price changes, and this being like the most expensive restaurant in a theme park at Disney World, are we expecting price changes?
It still has the $4 signs on the official website, so if it is, it's only going up.
It's just those $4 signs.
Nowhere to go but up.
Those $4 signs change value as time goes on. I don't know that. It's a relative term.
If they're adding a tier 0 to the ticket pricing, should they add a $0 to the food pricing? Has Sunshine Seasons become a $0 location, and Monsieur Paul stay $4?
I wouldn't even put Sunshine Seasons as a $0 one though, because depending on what you get there,
tis true. What would be the $0?
Sleepy Hollow.
That's not at Epcot.
Oh, at Epcot. The food and wine carts.
Those are expensive for how little food you get.
That's true.
They didn't say value. They just said price.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. I just paid $10 for a pierogi.
But
have you ever eaten it, Monsieur Paul?
I've told you guys my Monsieur Paul story, right?
No, well, that answers my question. Go ahead.
I heard your story from before it was Monsieur Paul.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It was before it was Monsieur Paul, but it was the same kind of idea, a high-end French restaurant.
Bistro de Paris.
So I had just become like a coordinator. I had just become a coordinator at Epcot, and I was going to take like my people, my cast that I was like mentoring on a project or something. I was going to take them out to dinner because I had a 40% coupon or 50% coupon, and we were going to go to Garden Grill, which was like $24 a person or something like that. I show up to Garden Grill, and they go, "Oh, we're 101. We can rebook you at a different restaurant." And I have everyone with me, and they go, "We have Monsieur Paul available." And I go, "Okay," like not wanting to be embarrassed. And then I realized not only is it much, much more expensive than Garden Grill, my coupon didn't work there.
Oh no!
So I went there just like praying they didn't get the fanciest or most expensive thing on the menu, and like not getting any, like not even getting a Coke because I wanted to save the $3 or whatever it was. And I was like, I'm still paying off that dinner.
I'll have the side salad as my meal.
No.
Tap water.
Right.
Do you have a flatbread here?
So we're gonna move on. You can stay on, Tony, if you want.
Okay.
But we're gonna talk about the biggest Disney news of the day, at least as far as I'm concerned.
Bunked season 7?
But Disney
no.
Channel has a hard 65 max rule.
That's what I was more concerned about. Yeah.
Yippee uppy.
Bluey is gonna be in the Macy's parade.
As the person who wrote the story, you know what I hate most? When you get a picture from your sources and they don't specify that it's a clear alpha channel. But
yep.
Anyway.
That's
I can
really
teach you how to swap
LP.
them out and pick monkey if you need to.
That's
Yeah,
inside LP right there.
It doesn't show when you're loading it that it has no background. So it's not until it appears on the site with a black background that you're like, what?
You know what? They're flying the balloons at night now?
But Bluey, constantly one of the top items on Disney Plus, not made by Disney, but on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And one of the best. I don't know, your friend's son. I don't know if what the real relationship with Miles will be, but is a huge fan of Bluey.
Yep.
And we are huge fans of Bluey. We're gonna go see Bluey live on tour in Orlando next May for my birthday. So we're excited that he's going to be in New York, joining Greg. True.
You call yourself a fan.
Oh, no, that was just me just not paying attention. I know she's a girl because she talks about it all the time.
And she'll be 52 feet tall.
And a whole can of whipped cream.
A whole can?
Maybe in the next parade, based on the popularity of the Bluey balloon, there will also be a bingo balloon.
I just want to know, like, who paid for this?
Me.
Like, is this? I mean, considering it's on Disney Junior and Disney Plus in the United States, but is it the people?
ABC, but not the one you think.
Yeah.
That confused me. I'm not gonna lie. I was looking up everything for this balloon, and it said part of ABC Kids, and I was like, "What is
not
that?"
The one you think.
Yeah, and then I'm like, "Oh, Australian Broadcasting
Company."
Yeah.
ABC.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, Tony.
Farewell, friends. Pleasure to be here.
I think we will wrap up unless there's any breaking news between the time we end and this. With Jeremiah at Animal Kingdom. How you doing, Jeremiah?
Doing well. I can't believe I just interrupted a Bluey conversation. That was kind of unexpected.
Expect the unexpected, Jeremiah.
I know of all the news items, like MagicBand Plus is coming, Fantasmics are returning, prices increase. Bluey the balloon. Okay.
Bluey, the vinyl LP album.
Ooh.
On blue vinyl.
Is that still on shrink wrap?
It is. We haven't listened to it yet. We ought to. Let me turn off my blur. I'll let everyone see how messy our home is for a second.
I enjoy your blur. That's fun.
So how's things at Animal Kingdom, Jeremiah?
Good. I'm glad you came to us because today and today only we're doing a live Disney Trivia Live right here, hosted by Doobie and Gideon. Go.
What person is Disneyland named after?
Roy E. Disneyland.
Well, did I get an answer?
I have a Roy E. Disney.
No. We'll give you 2 more chances.
Roy O. Disney.
Roy O. Disney?
You know, you're getting the last name right.
Walter Elias Disney.
I have somebody named Benjai saying Walter Elias
That
Disney.
is correct. You win. Where did I put them? This is embarrassing.
Apparently he's giving out
You win the
money
blueprints
for
to a
trivia.
people mover.
See, he's giving out money for Disney Trivia Live now.
I've lost.
People Mover blueprint.
You win nothing.
This is a People Mover blueprint shirt from the amazing Disney. Oh no, it's Etsy.
So why are we live right now?
Well, we had to interrupt a special conversation about Bluey.
Okay. Who's on right now?
I have Alex and Benji.
Hi, Alex. Hi, Benji. That's it.
That's it.
Hi, Alex. Hi, Benji.
Alex was on, or not Alex. Alex is on. Tony was on talking about Bluey.
Okay.
But
Yeah. I know I see Tony on there. Thank you for adding that description, Benji, so I can show up properly. It wasn't at first. Forget me.
I know. Look who's coming. This is how we end the show. Doobie.
Oh, God, it's your time. All right.
Doobie's refusing. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. No, he's running away. Okay. No. I am still on. Come on.
It's down?
Okay, there's an elephant in the roadway, so Kilimanjaro Safaris is down. We're going to stroll around Disney's Animal Kingdom, but thank you all for joining us for this rousing rendition of Doobie Doesn't Dance. That was.
Well, have fun, Jeremiah.
Thank you very much. If there's any more breaking Bluey news,
We will. If anything breaks Animal Kingdom today, we'll go right back to you.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, hello.
Hi. So we're just going to do this one more time in case anybody's watching. From these select cities that I'm going to butcher.
Remember, it's Macon, Georgia.
Macon, Georgia. We've got Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Little Rock, Arkansas, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Macon, Georgia,
Louisiana.
Sarasota, Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, Huntsville, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, Miami, Florida, Melbourne, Florida, Evans, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, Richmond, Virginia, Wallingford, Connecticut, Reading, Pennsylvania, Brookville, New York, Baltimore, Maryland, Red Bank, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Athens, Ohio, Branson, Missouri, Sioux City, Iowa, Kansas City, Missouri, Columbus, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and St. Louis, Missouri. If you're from those cities, say so in the comments while we're live, which is going to be like another 10 seconds. And we will get back to you. So I have a question, Tony, for you real quick while we wrap up. Jeremiah was at New York Comic Con, and he covered panels on Big City Greens and Owl House, and another one I'm forgetting. that is up your alley? Another.
It's up my alley, or it might be up my alley, but I know those were the two I paid attention to.
Okay. Well, what did you? And he put the panels online. What did you think?
The Owl House one, I wish I was there for, just because the energy was just so, like, incredible. Like everybody was cheering, and it makes you wonder why they shortened the third season. But yeah. But yeah, and then the Big City Greens one was just Big City Greens fun. Like they just did script reads for failed pilot ideas they had for the series, but none of them were real. But that was fun because they had most of the cast there. So,
but the movie's real. Are you excited for that?
The movie's very real. I'm very excited. Yeah. I interviewed the boys recently, and the boys, I mean, Chris and Shane Houghton. I don't even know which one it is because they both call each other the other one. So
that's annoying. That's like Walt with Experimental Prototype City and Experimental Prototype.
Yeah, because they introduced themselves at the panel, and I'm like, finally, I get to know, is it Houghton or Houghton? He's like, this is Shane Houghton. This is Chris Houghton. I'm like, which one is it? Your brothers. But,
did one wear blue and one wear gray?
I think they both wore Hawaiian cabana wear.
Oh, as I would do too if I was a legendary television animator, director, showrunner thing.
But yeah, and then the Owl House one, most of it was a Q&A, which I thought was cool. But they distinctly said at the beginning, we cannot tell you any spoilers because the Owl House fandom needs to know. And I know Jeremiah was there, and I felt so bad for him. I actually messaged him when I watched the videos, and I literally said, bro, I'm so sorry because none of this panel made any sense to you. Because people were asking, will Huntlow be canon? And like all what is a Flapjack related to this Palaceman? And then like, just if you don't know the show, you have no idea what's going on in this panel. But yeah, so they told them ahead of time that this is a spoiler addendum, like we cannot answer anything. And there was about 4 or 5 questions where the moderator had to do the very scripted and generic line, I'm going to have to ask you to tune in on Saturday, August 15th or October 15th.
That's the main thing at comic conventions too, because like someone will very much go, like, do you have any plans for this character? Well, will you ever do anything with this character?
Yep.
Well, maybe. You know, and
one of them was will Huntlow be canon, which is 2 characters, Hunter and Willow, and with the millennial mashup of blending names. But then they also said,
like
which I thought, like what?
Torgan.
Yes, Torgan. That's one. Yeah, Morny doesn't really work. But there was one question. There was a couple questions where they had to initiate the. I'm going to ask you to tune in, but there was one that was such a great question, and it was, what would Camila, who is Luz's mom in the show, think about Ida, who is Luz's adopted mom in the show, basically putting her in these life-threatening situations all the time, even though we know Ida is always concerned about Luz as if she's her own daughter. If they ever met, like, would she be upset? And everyone was kind of like, okay, this is a character development question. And then they said, I'm going to have to ask you to tune in on October 15th. And everybody went nuts because that means at some point they will meet. Or it's implied that at some point they will meet. So I'm very, very excited. And October 15th, I already have plans to sit there and watch that show. The first of 3.
Just 3 days from now, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
and
thanks so
LP
much.
readers
Thanks so much
won't hear about
for
it from me until Monday. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that's poor scheduling on your manager's part. But alas, not much I can do about it at this point.
It'll help me synthesize the information and make it a great read.
We'll see you. Yeah, you'll have full amount of time to digest it. Anyway, thanks so much, Tony. Thanks so much to Alex, Jeremiah, Mac for joining us. And we'll see you next time on another exciting edition of Inside LP.